Now, let us understand another important concept, that is how the method calls each other. As in, I'll create a new class and I'll say method calling, right? Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create some methods inside this class. Let's say a method called public void go, right? I'll have three methods over here, and I'll just write print something inside the method, right? I'm just gonna copy this and write it like this. So I've created three methods: go1, and go2, right? Now, if I want to call these methods, I actually need to create an object of a class, right? This we have already seen. So I'll say method calling m equal to new method calling, and I can say m dot go, m dot go1, and m dot go2. So it means whenever I need to call this method, I actually need to create an object of this method. All right. Now, what I'm doing, I'm actually calling these methods inside a main method. Although the methods are inside same class, right? But I actually need to create an object of this class in order to call these methods. Now, what if I call this go1 method inside over here, inside the go method directly? I should be able to call it without even creating an object of this class, right? Because both method shares the same behavior, right? Both are inside the same class. If methods are inside same class, you can directly call them if they share the same behavior, as in, if you see over here, this is also a method, a main method. We have static over here. That is the reason I cannot call a method directly over here. I cannot just write go over here. It will not gonna work. It will actually ask me to create an object of this class. You cannot make a static reference to a non-static method. See, right? So the method has to be a non-static method if we need to call that method directly without creating an object of this class. That is the reason I'm able to call this method over here, or even you can call this go2 method inside the go1 method. It will not gonna throw any error. You need not to create an object of this class. So if you just call the method go now, and if you just run it, it will gonna print everything, right? Because whenever you're calling go, it is printing this and anything that is written inside go1. Whenever you're calling go1, it is actually printing this, and anything that is written inside this go2 will be executed, right? So what happens? You call the go method, and go method actually printed this and called this method, and whatever that is written inside this has actually been executed, right? Another thing to note over here is that a static component a static component can never give a call to a non-static component directly, right? It cannot give a call to non-static component directly, right? Means if I write this static keyword against this method as well, then it should not be able to call this method from a class, right? Then you can see it is asking me to convert this to a static method, and now if I convert this to a static method, then I can directly call this method, but again I'll not be able to call this go to method. So the behaviors of the method should remain same if a method is calling a different method directly, right? Now same way, if I create another method over here that should be a static method, I can say public static void go 3, right? If I create this method and I'll just write uh, inside go 3 method, right? And if I just don't create an object of this class over here, I can still directly call this go3 method like this. And if I run this, it will actually gonna print inside go3. Right. So what happens over here is that a static component can directly call any static component, and a non-static component can directly give a call to a non-static component also, right? But again, if you're talking about a non-static method, it can actually directly give a call to the static method as well, right? Means if you see over here, if I just call this go3 as well over here, it should able to give a call to this go3, right? So even if I don't write this, if I create an object of this class and call it, so it will actually gonna execute the go3 as well. But again, when you're calling a non-static method, you actually need to create an object of this class, whereas you can directly call the static method without even creating an object of this class. So question comes over here, why not we keep everything as static, right? So if we are keeping everything as static, then it means that we are not following the double O. Double O as in object orientation programming, right? We are not following the OOPS concept, right? We cannot do inheritance polymorphism if we have everything as static, right? So those concepts are going to come soon in the upcoming lectures, right? For the time being, we just need to understand that static thing allows all the static components, right? Non-static allows static as well as non-static. It can call static as well as non-static as well. And the other thing, that non-static components cannot be called without making an object of this class, right? Now if we talk about how these methods are being executed, right? Which method will be called first, which method will be called after that, so who will actually gonna decide it? So let us understand this thing. Whenever we start writing the code, the very first thing we do is we compile the code, right? Then after that, it gets executed, right? And it gives a call to the Java virtual machine, right? Now Java virtual machine, the very first thing that it looks for in your code is the main method, right? So this is the very first method that gets executed. Now you cannot change this method, right? You can change the sequence of these methods. You can write this over here, you can write this over here, anywhere inside this class, right? You can write the main method anywhere inside the class, but the very first method that will be called is the main method. If I just remove the static keyword from here, right, now there will not be any compilation error, but once you run it, your Java virtual machine, it will actually not gonna find this main method, and it will actually gonna throw an error. If you read this error, it says that main method is not static in the class method calling, right? So they have given the that how it should actually be defined. This should actually be defined it in this way, right? You cannot even change the name of this main method. You cannot even write main2, because this is the very first thing it search for. If you change it, then the main method not found in the class method calling, right? So it has to be in the same way. It has to be implemented in the same way. This is the very first thing it searches for. Then after that, whatever sequence that you give inside the main method, in the same sequence your code will be executed. All the methods will be called in the same sequence. Okay, so let us do an assignment over here, just to make sure that these thing works like the way that we just discussed. So what I'll do, I'll go inside this go method, I'll print out this inside go method, and over here, let's say I give a call to a method go to, right? And then I again print something. I'll just write after calling go to method, right? And then I'll go inside the go one method. I'll print inside go one method, and over here I'll give a call to a go method, and then I'll just print after calling go method, right? And then in go to method, let's say we write this thing only, right? Now if I go to main method, I'll just write m dot go one, right? And over here, let's say okay, let us just call this method, or let's say I just write after calling go method over here, right? I'll just print one thing over here as well. Let's change this to go one method. So take 2 minutes of your time and think how this thing will be worked. What is the sequence, how it will be executed, right? Just think for 2 minutes. All right, so let us see how this will be printed, right? The very first thing, it will create an object of this class, and it will give a call to like uh, the go one method, right? Now JVM actually looks for the main method. So the very first thing, when it finds the main method, that is the only reason the main method is static, right? If the main method is not static, JVM will not be able to locate this method, right? JVM, it has to be, the main method has to be static, so that otherwise what happens, JVM will just keep on creating objects of this class, right? So JVM, it's not a task that JVM should not initially in the beginning create an object of this class. It should directly look for a static method, a static main method, and then it should follow the sequence that is given inside this method, right? So what we need to do, like the very first thing that will be called is the go method. It will go inside this method, and it will gonna print the very first thing that is inside go method, right? Now after that, what will be executed inside go method? Go inside go one method. After this, we have in a sequence we have go method. So what it will do, it will go inside the go method. It will actually gonna print inside go method over here, right? And after that, it will find a go to method. It will go over here, and it will gonna print inside go to method, right? Same way, once the go to method is executed, what it will gonna print, it will print after calling the go to method, right? Now once this go method is over, then it will actually gonna print after calling the go method, right? And at the end, it will once this method is over, it will go over here, and it will actually gonna print this thing, right? So let us run this, and let us see if we get the same results or not. So let me do it like this, right? And just compare it. Inside go one, inside go to, after calling go to, go, and then go one, right? So no matter whichever sequence your method follows, it will only gonna follow the sequence of the main method. All right. All right. So we have only this much inside the method calling method lecture, right?